Hey, it's Molly. Welcome back to my channel as we discuss the Scorpio New Moon exact on November 20th at 1:47 a.m. That's Eastern Time. So keep in mind that depending on your location, this new moon could be happening for you late on November 19th. This is quite the new moon chart, so let's get into it here. As we look at where the sun and the moon are conjunct at 28 degrees of Scorpio, 11 minutes in your chart. So this is the degree point you want to find where they are together at 28 degrees of Scorpio, and you're identifying it by house because the house placement is where the Scorpio new moon beginning is being initiated for you. So this is an interesting new moon because every new moon is a time of darkness in the sky. And it's a time of listening, of being receptive to what is coming through for you to begin. And this new moon is also conjunct Mercury at 28 degrees of Scorpio retrograde. So basically exact this Scorpio new moon, which means this is a time to be quiet, honor the darkness, the stillness, honor what you're hearing. When you close your eyes, tune into more of your internal messaging, when you listen to the depths of your soul's wisdom, something is speaking to you. Mercury is bringing it back to your attention so that you can truly feel into what new message, what new beginning, what new direction is meant to start here from a newly empowered place. The new moon is at 28 degrees of Scorpio, the end of Scorpio season, which is going to be the trend into next year. And that means that you've been moving through Scorpio season, understanding new parts of yourself, perhaps having some deep, intense feelings, some fears arising, some parts of your world that you've been wrestling with, churning through, ultimately transforming. But through Scorpio, there's an intensity and a discomfort that we're meant to honor. And we're meant to see it as whatever we are feeling inside is gifting us with new energies of power, truth, clarity, wisdom. But we've often got to work for it. And here we have a new moon that's bringing you to more of what you really desire, what you want to experience next because of what you faced, because of the fear that you've alchemized. Scorpio is alchemy, transmuting, allowing one form to become another. And this is a new moon with this Mercury here that's giving you insights into something you didn't see before. You can understand it at a deeper level of your being. And it's helping you move forward as every new moon does. But it feels like there's a very important turning point with the Scorpio new moon. And that's because with the sun, moon, and Mercury all conjunct here at 28 degrees, they're interacting with 4 other outer planets. These are pivotal insights for you. This could be seeing something within yourself that's been a deep-rooted pattern. Something within yourself that has been ultimately holding you back. And with the influence of 4 outer planets here, which I'm going to go through, you're not meant to stay the same at the end of Scorpio season. This new moon is definitely a rebirth, a renewal. And it brings about shocking insights because this Uranus, now back in Taurus, 29 degrees retrograde, opposing these 3 planets, is shocking you awake. And see how it's in opposition, which is always the other side of a chart? It's the other side of an experience or a situation. It's the other side of your consciousness showing you something loud and clear. I'm getting this really weird visual of sitting in the dark of the new moon, in the darkness of Scorpio, and feeling these electrical pulsing currents zapping new awareness into you. And this Uranus is also not wanting you to be comfortable and is saying there's something you need to up level or change here, that you're already aware of it. You're already aware of it because Uranus has already been here at 29 degrees of Taurus. So it's returning to this degree point where it will also be again in April 2026, giving you more that you didn't realize. But I'm feeling like this Uranus is beautifully supported by Neptune, a sextile from Neptune, also retrograde and returning to a territory it's been in here at 29 degrees of Pisces, and in a conjunction to Saturn at 25 Pisces, also sextiling this Uranus. And then we bring in Jupiter, now retrograde at 25 degrees of Cancer, also in a sextile to that Uranus, creating a water grand trine here. There's a lot in motion. There's a lot of depth here. There's a lot that maybe you're feeling is transforming you from the inside out, that's moving through you at a deep emotional level that you can't ignore because the energy wants to keep something in motion. And I see it as this kite that goes right to Uranus. Now, a kite is when you have this grand trine, right? The grand trine. And then the point of the kite leads to this Uranus. This Uranus is here to say change is happening at a deep core level. It's shaking up the Taurus energies in your chart that maybe you've been trying to keep calm. You've been trying to keep it peaceful. There's a need to resist change with Taurus because you want to maintain a comfort zone, but that's not the name of the game at all. And in fact, there's a wiser part of you that knows that. And so here is this Uranus zapping you with these electrical currents of truth, liberation, insight, awakening, freeing you from the fears or from a part of yourself that you're already shedding. And that is one thing here with the Scorpio new moon, is that we're shedding, we're removing. The snake is molting its old skin. You've outgrown a previous version of yourself. And when that skin is removed, that skin can feel quite tender and raw. It's being exposed for the first time, right? It can feel like, what do I do with this? I'm new in this version of myself. I've taken everything that's happened before today, I've transformed it and evolved it into more energy that will support me and empower me. But it's brought me to a brand new starting point in my life that I've never been at before. And that's one thing I'm seeing so clearly in this Scorpio new moon chart with the interactions from these 4 outer planets. We've never been here before. And there's something that is both thrilling and scary, almost like a raw vulnerability that is meant to expose more of your true essence, your true power, your true desires, your true heart. And yet being exposed doesn't feel so good, isn't something that we seek, but there's something about the interactions with the outer planets that are revealing to you you're safe in the divine plan of it all. You're safe in the universal flow of what's transpiring right now. And this Uranus and Taurus being the only earth sign, instability in one's core self is the freedom. It is by shaking up what's been, it's like, I'm just seeing it like locked inside, what's been held within, shaking it free is the liberation. But it's emotional, deeply emotional. And it can go into the core fears that have been coming up. And when you have strong fixed energy, which we do in this chart with all three of these here in the late degrees of Scorpio, and then even this Uranus and Taurus is a fixed sign opposing each other, it really has to be rattled for change to happen. And it's so it so stirs the pot, and it just feels so jarring, shocking, unsafe. And that's exactly the divine plan right now. And then look at the support from the universe with this water grand trine that I've been discussing now for over a month, Molly on repeat with the water grand trine, because it means there's things that you're meant to shake it out, and then it flows into a new form. There's places for it to go. That's part of the liberation here. And so this Saturn at 25 degrees of Pisces retrograde is slowing down, as Saturn is going to station direct November 27th, is holding steady, holding something steady, connected to your enlightenment, connected to what you are meant to truly feel and realize about more of your, I'm seeing it as this vastness of your spirit, which is the Pisces energy. It's like we're so much bigger than just this human experience, but we get locked into a definition of what we're supposed to be or what it's supposed to look like. And there's a steadiness here from your spirit, from your soul, saying this is the way forward. This is the movement. And then with this energy, trining Jupiter in Cancer there, it's something from the past that you've been learning and seeing in a new way is here to also flow through you. It's a very strong movement of energy. Maybe the dam is bursting. Maybe there's overwhelm. Maybe there's a lot going on and it just feels so wildly out of control. And that's the beauty of the transformation here. And you have these outer planets all in retrograde. I mean, let's even bring in this Chiron, which is still squaring Jupiter there. They're all retrograde. You're returning to your own. So it feels like there's this depth here. I just keep feeling this depth in the energy that is meant to help you rise. And part of the Scorpio journey is the descent is the important turning point in the journey to reach that next ascent. You have to descend to ascend. You have to go down to get to what is at the core, what you've been afraid to look at, afraid to feel, afraid to have feelings, afraid to go into the depth of what all that means. And then you rise back out of it, but there's that renewal because you never enter the same river twice. And what that means is that both the river and the human are always changing, are always evolving. So one is never the same. And this is a Scorpio new moon to move powerfully forward into this renewal, to go with the flow of the intensity because it's carrying you forward. It's moving you into new uncharted territory. And these retrograde planets I feel are powerfully signaling that we've already been in this experience. We've already been in motion with this level of awareness and with this type of change. But the Scorpio new moon will always intensify the feelings, the transformation, and the empowerment. And with it happening here at the end of Scorpio season, there's also revelations. Mercury is bringing back the messages, understanding, research, the deep parts of yourself that you're meant to hear. Mercury retrograde also supports our listening to ourselves, listening to our own messages, feeling into them so that we can really trust what we're meant to understand. And after this new moon, so just to be precise, since the new moon is at 28 degrees, the sun and the moon move forward. They'll get to 29 degrees. The moon will get there first, and simultaneously trine this Neptune. Look at that, 29 degrees, Pisces, 29 minutes. Uranus is in the exact sextile, 29 degrees, Taurus, 29 minutes. The moon moves forward to 29 degrees, 29 minutes. Trines Neptune, opposes Uranus. The sun will then do the same the next day before it enters Sagittarius. There's a softening in this Neptune that involves unconditional love, self-forgiveness, compassion, acceptance. And then the opposition to Uranus is changing you forever, changing something in your core values of how you live your life, of what you want in your life next, of what matters to you. There's a very intense spiritual awakening here that's changing some people permanently, where you're never going back to a previous version of self. And there's going to be more breadcrumbs and more things that arrive that show you the way forward after the Scorpio new moon. But because there is such intensity here, and there's a lot of energy going on, you could even feel wiped out. You could feel quite drained, quite tired, because there's something that is internally shifting at such a core level, and it's internal and private. That's another theme I see in this chart with the water grand trine and with the kite here to this Uranus, is that there's things you're changing in yourself at a core level that I feel are aligning you with the new Earth and the new galactic energies that are continuing to arrive on the planet. We're meant to be permanently changing and shedding old versions of self. This is much bigger than simply this new moon. Because of the bigger conversations happening with these outer planets, this is where we're really getting the understanding of your free will choices and what you want to be on board with for the new that's coming in, especially in 2026. 2026 is going to be a very different year than this year, because it's where things start to smooth out a bit more. There's less turbulence, if you will. There are fewer big transits with the outer planets moving between signs. We're going to have Saturn and Neptune both move into Aries and stay. Neptune moves in late January, followed by Saturn in February. Then they have their conjunction. Uranus will re-enter Gemini in April, late April. And then they're going to stay in those signs. So they're not going to be moving back and forth, giving us all these jolts of change and just the big energy phases that 2025 has absolutely been perfect for. This year has been perfect for where it's had to push you into a new version of self and a new reality that we have to adjust our frequencies for. The discomfort is ultimately a divine gift that is more readily acknowledged in hindsight. But I feel this is going to be a Scorpio new moon where something really comes through in the dark, like it hits you. Maybe it's in the middle of the night, literally. Maybe it's when you least expect it. Maybe you just get a really powerful breakthrough here. That opposition from Uranus is no joke. I mean, this is an opposition. First of all, it only happens once a year where Uranus opposes the sun. It's almost as if what's been in the dark powerfully comes to the light right after the new moon, and a light switch gets turned on. I'm feeling deep revelations here because this Mercury is bringing it back to your awareness. And Mercury is going to continue to be supported after this new moon, because as Mercury continues retrograde, Mercury is going to stay in contact with the water grand trine energies of the Saturn in Pisces and Jupiter in Cancer. So here we have mental reconfiguration going on as this Mercury realigns you with your needs, how you want to feel, how you want to express. And I'm just getting that visual of being in the heart space more often, feeling safe, grounded, and powerful in the heart, and the ability to hear your own messages with new levels of truth. And this Mercury is still in retrograde until the end of the month, November 29th or 30th, depending on your location. Going back to 20 degrees of Scorpio. And I'm getting the feeling that what we're working through and understanding at this time is really going to gain new momentum into December. But this new moon is a really important part of the story of what you're changing, because this Mercury here is bringing it to your conscious awareness. That's one way that Mercury works, is bringing it to your consciousness, bringing it front and center. And Mercury is going to have another opposition to Uranus in December as well. The ending of Scorpio season shows us what we leave behind. Again, it's that removal, that shedding of the old skin. We associate Scorpio with not only transformation, but a death of some kind, a death of a previous version of self, a death of consciousness, in order for it to rise again into a new form. Cold hard truth is part of the Scorpio new moon. Here we have this Venus at 16 degrees of Scorpio, trining the North Node at 14 degrees of Venus. 14 degrees of Pisces. That'd be nice, 14 degrees of Venus. And this trine is a beautiful supportive opening into what this North Node in Pisces has been showing you around trusting yourself, loving yourself, trusting your power, trusting your intuition and your psychic senses. And the energy from Scorpio to Pisces is growth oriented. It evolves what the Scorpio fears and limitations might be. And this Pisces energy helps you to see the bigger picture, the higher perspective. So you don't stay locked into something, because again, this is a fixed sign, it's fixed water. Lots of water in the chart. And Venus is also moving forward, of course, and then she's going to enter into the water grand trine dynamics, where she will trine Saturn, trine this Jupiter. This is going to help her evolve her perceptions of how she loves herself. But I'm feeling it actually as this Venus in Scorpio is moving into a deeper connection with her soul and her creative gifts, like what she came in with from previous lifetimes that she's ready to experience at a whole new level in this lifetime. And so the deep Scorpio energy is where we access more of our Akashic records as well, and understand the energetic trails, an energetic foundation that we have to work with. And in Scorpio, we can powerfully transmute that, call it forward into this lifetime and use it in a whole new way. And I'm feeling this is part of how Venus is evolving here, especially through the end of November, because she's going to have an elevation too in her ability to receive, her magnetism, her self-empowerment. Venus is also going to be working with her wealth consciousness, prosperity, what it means to be empowered in all areas of herself, to move past any fears of poverty consciousness, persecution, loss. She's working with a lot, but she has support with the water grand trine dynamics here. So basically, this area of your chart where you have late degrees of Scorpio is important because this is the Scorpio new moon. But the story connects with where you have this Uranus opposing in Taurus, also late degrees of Pisces, and this Jupiter in Cancer. So there's basically 4 areas of your chart here that are all in an important conversation, and they lead to this kite of Uranus, which is change is happening, change is real. It's maybe shaking you at the core, but it's shaking you free. And that could be the next level awakening as well, which is one thing that Uranus is all about. Uranus, the great awakener. So whatever is shaking for you, whatever is coming up, or even whispering to you in the dark, there's support for feeling it, moving through it, allowing it to run through you with this ongoing emotional connections here of flow, movement, trust, release, purging, perhaps a huge detox of some kind. And then after the new moon occurs, the moon and the sun move into Sagittarius. Sagittarius season begins November 21st, and this is where we go higher to see, what was I learning? How is this shaping my belief systems? How am I consciously choosing my perspective so that it continues to empower me and supports my my soul growth at this very important time on the planet. It might help to see the intensity of November as a rite of passage in your own evolution into next year, meaning what is transpiring right now is going to pay off and help lead you forward into 2026. Because there are parts of our old selves that aren't meant to go forward. Parts of our identity, parts of who we've been in our, anything connected to the old paradigm and lower consciousness, all of that is meant to be stripped away. So I hope that the Scorpio New Moon gives you some more insights into what is perfectly on time, even if it is painful, uncomfortable, and difficult. I hope that you also connect to the beautiful gifts of it and the wisdom that's coming through. And I did just release my 2026 Soul Growth Astrology program if you want a heads up into what's going to be unfolding next year, including the eclipses that will be here in February. Yes, our first eclipse is in February. We also have 3 Mercury retrogrades, all in water signs, a Venus retrograde, 2 Venus star points, and a lot more. So I'll put the information below the video if you want to check that out. Otherwise, I'll be back with another video for you soon. Thank you, as always, for your comments, your likes, and your shares. Thank you for sharing this with others who could benefit from it as well, and I hope it resonates. Thank you so much. I'll see you back here soon.